Hey guys, how's it going? Cheers. Yuri here with you. I'm going to have some apple cider vinegar in just a moment, but welcome to Ask Yuri Live. Let's get this party started. We're starting early today, but you know what? Who cares? Let's do it. Trouble losing weight? Need more energy? Want to improve your health? You got a fitness or nutrition question? I probably have an answer for you. All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're having an amazing Wednesday. I'm starting like literally 4 minutes early today. How about that? How awesome is that? 4 more minutes of Yuri awesomeness. If you don't get enough of me already, well, here we go. This should do it, right? An extra 4 minutes of my nonsense today. So this is Ask Yuri Live. I'm answering your health, fitness, or nutrition questions. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Yuri Elkaim, as the name above here implies. I'm a New York Times bestselling author in the nutrition, health, and fitness space. And over the past 10 years, I've been able to help over 500,000 people around the world have more energy, lose weight, feel amazing about themselves. My YouTube videos have been watched by over 23 million people, and I'm on a mission to help 10 million people by 2018. I want you to be one of them, all right? So it all starts here, in the flesh. Okay, so I've got a damaging admission for you, and I'll share that in just a second. And first, I just want to refresh my Facebook feed so I can actually see who's here and what questions you might have that I can answer for you. So in the chat below in the comments, just type in, "Hey Yuri, it's Louise from Charlotte," or let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're joining me in from. I'm in Toronto, and it's a beautiful warm day, even though it's the beginning of November. I was actually just in, where was I? I was in Colorado Springs this past weekend, and it was amazing. I was staying up at this place called Cloud Camp, 9,000 feet up in the mountains. This really cool little lodge resort with about 30 other people that are entrepreneurs, and it was amazing. And they gave me the top cabin. I was literally perched up on this rock 162 steps from the main lodge, and they gave it to me because I was like the fittest guy in the group. So they're like, "Yeah, Yuri will really appreciate this." So it was amazing, and it was basically this fire station or this fire lookout point. And it was so from this point, this is where they used to, like back in the 1900-ish time, they would use this platform to look out over all of Colorado Springs looking for forest fires. And that was like the highest points in the whole area. So that's where I got to sleep. It was pretty amazing. And so anyways, so welcome. Again, guys, let me know where you're joining me in from in the comments. Fidelma, Ireland, how's it going? Guadalupe from Chicago, Diane, NC, North Carolina, how about that? So that was I was pretty close there, right? Charlotte, North Carolina, not too bad. Let's see if I can come up with any other ones. Do we have Matt from Long Beach? Just a random inquiry there. Okay, so before we get into the questions again, if you guys have, hey Glenda, how's it going? Columbia, MO, was that Missouri? I don't even know. Okay, anyways, so what was I gonna say? So I have a damaging admission to share with you guys. Obviously this past weekend was Halloween, and hope you guys had a fun time if you've got kids trick-or-treating or giving out the candies. And as you know, I'm a big proponent in eating clean foods and reducing sugar intake, but I've got 3 kids at home, and with that comes obviously Halloween candies. And so here's the thing. We actually have, or had, a lot of chocolate specifically in our house, little candy bars and stuff like that. And I often say this, environment trumps willpower. And I'm a case in point. I'm not Superman. Okay, my kryptonite is that stuff in my house. So my damaging admission is this. Over the last couple of days, I've been like pounding these bars. I shouldn't say pounding them. I've been eating these candy bars at a rate that is probably not desirable. So to the effect of probably 4 to 6 of these little candy bars every single day. So yeah, that's my damaging admission. So yes, I'm not perfect. I was probably having a little bit too many coffee crisps or Kit Kats over the last few days, and there are still a few more in the house. So unless we throw that stuff in the garbage, which I hope happens while I'm recording this, but I don't think it's going to happen, they're still going to be in the house. And remember, when temptations arise, if that stuff is there, it's, again, you only have so much willpower and discipline before the urges take over. And again, so if you've been dealing with sugar cravings, if you can relate to this, believe me, I get it. And obviously we had a little special promotion for our Total Wellness Cleanse over the past few days, just because of the fact that I understand that a lot of people are probably in the same boat as I am. So I just wanted to, give you guys the opportunity to take part in that amazing program, because it's helped over 22,000 men and women now, and it's been incredible. So Carmel, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. So that's yeah. So have you guys been okay with the Halloween stuff, or have you guys kind of been like me and had maybe a few too many candy bars? Don't worry, I'm not judging. Remember, because I've been one of them. But I will suggest. I'm actually gonna just move the camera down here a bit. I'm going to give you guys a cool tip here, actually. If you are going to have a chocolate bar, if you are going to have a candy bar, which again, I don't recommend you do on a regular basis, every now and again is a little treat, fine. But in this mason jar is not a urine sample and it's not apple juice. It's water with apple cider vinegar. Ugh. Okay, that's a lot, oh man. There's a lot of apple cider vinegar in there. But that's good. So apple cider vinegar, if you drink that before having anything sweet, what it's actually been shown to do is decrease the blood sugar impact of that specific food. That's really cool. So there's a component in apple cider vinegar called acetic acid, and somehow it does something to our blood sugar to reduce the blood sugar impact of sweets, sugars, chocolates, and so forth. So again, if you're gonna have something, have a little apple cider vinegar beforehand, and it will do just a little bit better for your body. So yeah, okay. Too much candy, but taking chromium. Yeah, so chromium is actually really helpful too because chromium helps your cells uptake glucose, right? So for those of you who have blood sugar issues, diabetes, chromium is one of those minerals that's really, really important. So anyways, let's get enough of the shenanigans, shall we? Let's get into your questions. So yeah, Michael Sean James Darlington West. That is an awesome name. Awesome. Okay, so have I read The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss? Yes, I'm reading it right now and it's great stuff. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for the question/comment. Yeah, good book. I mean, all Tim's stuff is awesome. Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's get to the questions. If you guys have a health, fitness, or nutrition question, let me know in the comments here. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, hopefully this is serving you well. Obviously, I'm only answering the questions live. If you're on Facebook here with me, if you're watching the replay, you'll still get some goodness. But if you guys are enjoying these live hangouts, be sure to share this, okay? Share this wherever the share button is. Click it and let your friends know. Let's get them healthy. Let's get them fit. And I'm just going to refresh my Facebook page so I can see your questions because it doesn't automatically update sometimes. So I'm going to answer a question that was asked of me this past weekend when I was in Colorado. And a friend of mine was asking, he was saying, listen, I've been reducing my carb consumption, and I noticed that I'm getting constipated. So what do you recommend for kind of cleaning this up and clearing it up? And I said there's 3 things you want to be looking at when it comes to constipation. Okay, there's like a 3-prong approach. First is hydration, then we've got lubrication, and then we've got fiberification. Now that's not a word, but I just invented that, okay? So let's take them one by one. So first is hydration. You want to be drinking lots of water. I want you to think of your digestive system, at least your colon, as a water slide for a second, okay? So you have these kids at the top and they're your poop that needs to get out of your system. So if there's no water on the water slide, the kid's he's going to be squeaking down like, it's not going to do very well on that slide. So we need the water to come in and lubricate the slide, right? Or hydrate the slide, get the water flushing down. Now, it would even be better if the kid was on some kind of like slippery mat, right? To just even get things out faster. And that's lubrication. So lubrication is in the form of healthy fats, olive oil, coconut oil, essential fatty acids like fish oils, flax oil, algae oil, hemp seed oil, all those oils. Okay, the oils are going to provide the lubrication to help you move stuff through the digestive system. And third is fiberification, which again is an official word. Believe me, I've just actually submitted that to Wikipedia. So fiber, we want to get the fiber into your body. And this is going to come in the form of real foods, predominantly fruits and vegetables and legumes. And then you can look at things like seeds, right? So you can look at chia seeds, ground flax seeds, and those are very, very good sources of fiber. So the fiber there's 2 forms of fiber. There's insoluble fiber and then there's soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber is kind of like the broom, okay? So it's a broom that sweeps stuff down the water slide. The soluble fiber is not like a sponge, right? So it's a sponge that's going to absorb all the toxins and the excess hormones that have been metabolized and a lot of the other junk that you want to get out of your body. So insoluble fiber is stuff like the skin, for instance, on a lot of fruit, like apples as an example, or it'd be like the leafy greens like kale and so forth. Soluble fiber is more of think about the pectin, the inside of the apple, right? So it's a little bit more there's more substance, if you will, if you want to think about it that way, right? So think about things like chia seeds. When they absorb water, right, they become plump, right? And that's a great just visual for the fact that they're a great source of soluble fiber because they can absorb up to 12 to 15 times their weight in liquid. So by having things like chia seed pudding or ground flax seeds, you can put those things in your smoothies. You can actually combine the chia seed pudding with ground flax seeds, have some berries on top, some shaved coconut, all sorts of cool stuff. So that's how you, and again, constipation doesn't relieve itself overnight. You want to be going to the bathroom, number 2 to 3 times a day. That's, again, good, well-formed stool. It should look like a banana, right? Because that's kind of the form of your colon. It should have a good kind of thickness to it, right? So if you think about the lumen, the size, the diameter of your colon, which is not as thin, right, as a battery. So if your poop is like really thin, that could indicate that you have some inflammation and some stuff built up in the walls of the digestive system, right? So you want that, a nice form. I know this is an interesting conversation, especially if you're having lunch, I apologize, but it's important. So it should be banana-like, okay? Well-formed, good kind of thickness to it. It should sink. If it's floating on top of the water, what do you guys think that means? Well, I'll just let you know just for the sake of time. It means that you're not absorbing fats properly. So if your stool is fat, it's going to be more buoyant and it's going to float. So that's the other thing you want to look for. So it should sink and it shouldn't have a foul smell. If it has a very, very putrid foul smell, that could indicate some issues digesting either some proteins or some carbohydrates at different points of the digestive system. So anyways, there's a little poop 101, 2 to 3 times a day. And shouldn't be strained, should just be like, coming out. And if you are constipated, give it some time. It's not going to rectify itself overnight. It might take a couple days. It took, a while to get you here. It's going to take a while to get back. And it's important to get this stuff out of the system because if you don't, it's like not taking the trash out of your house. So yeah, anyways. Okay, so let's get to your questions here. So Fidelma, need advice recovery from the marathon? Oh man, God forbid. Wow, I would suggest doing some cryotherapy. Right? Like your body is severely inflamed right now probably. So cryotherapy, ice baths, stuff like that. Some yoga, lots of water, vitamin C. Consistent use of vitamin C is actually really good anyways. What else? Massage, foam rolling, soft tissue work, all that stuff is going to be very, very helpful. Basically, you just have to give your body a break because you didn't just run a marathon, you probably trained for it as well. And your body is probably just destroyed physiologically right now. So give yourself some time. I think cryotherapy, one of those kind of cold chambers that you go in for like 2 minutes. If you have access to one, it's probably one of the best ways to speed the recovery process because it reduces inflammation and helps healing. And obviously you want to be getting good sleep because if you're not getting good sleep, right, growth hormone is secreted in deep sleep and that's what's going to help repair muscles and all that stuff. So get some good sleep and obviously be eating, an anti-inflammatory, high quality diet will definitely help out as well. Okay, Carmel, I need help with Crohn's disease, please. Seeing a naturopath and I'm taking L-glutamine to heal my guts. So L-glutamine is like one component of a gut healing protocol. It's not the only thing. You want to be looking at things like, what else? Fish oil, aloe vera perhaps. You can look at obviously some of the fibers that we talked about. You want to be careful with some of the fiber though. Some of the insoluble fiber can be a little bit upsetting for gut health. You look at things like blah, 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 if I can speak. Collagen and bone broth, very, 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 very good sources of building blocks for not just the digestive system, but in your entire cellular system in your body. So those are a couple things. But if you're working with a naturopath, they should probably be on the ball with this stuff. Don't worry about adding 1,000 things in, right? Just like take a few things at a time, see what the difference is, and kind of move from there. But if you're working with somebody, that's obviously a good start. Charlotte, thoughts on candida? Best ways to test, how to get rid of it? Okay, so if you have candida, the easiest way to test is to stick your tongue out. So stick your tongue out. If it's coated with what's known as a white oral thrush, or it's like a kind of like a thick white yellowish coating, that's like you got candida. So that's the number one way to look at it. You can also look at, do I crave sugar a lot? Do I have brain fog? Do I get cranky, hangry, moody as a result of having like low blood sugar, for instance? There's a lot of crossover with other issues, but candida, if you have sugar cravings, candida is most likely at play as well. And the best way to get rid of candida is to stop eating sugar because it's going to starve it. Candida thrives on sugar. If you don't eat sugar, you don't have candida. It'll clear it out of the system. It'll take some time, but you cannot feed the organism. Okay, that's the key. Okay, DO, seems like testosterone supplements are the latest fad right now. Are they a scam, or do they really work to boost testosterone levels and help lose weight? All right, so I'm a huge fan of exogenous testosterone. It's really good for you. Not. So, okay, you have to understand this. When your body has feedback loops, negative feedback loops. So, for instance, when your brain says we need more of a hormone, it'll send basically a signal from your hypothalamus down to, for instance, your pituitary gland. Sorry, your pituitary is up here in your brain somewhere. I just couldn't get in there. So it'll hypothalamus, pituitary gland. The pituitary gland will then send a signal, for instance, to your thyroid or your adrenals or somewhere else to say, hey, we need more of this hormone. So your body produces more of that hormone. And then when you have more of that hormone, that's a signal that goes back to your hypothalamus that says, hey, we have a lot of this hormone, so you can shut down the process that's going to lead to the production of more of this hormone, okay? So this is negative feedback loop, which helps keep things in check. Now, if you start supplementing with testosterone, you're going to completely override the system. So what ends up happening is that you're taking in all this extra testosterone, and now your body's going to shut down its own production of testosterone because you're taking in exogenous testosterone, which means that in some cases, testicles shrink, okay, which is not a good thing. And that's just because they're not needed to produce testosterone. So I'm not a fan of messing around with your hormones. I mean, as you guys know, hormones, like, they will literally make or break you. If you feel like crap, it's probably hormones. If you feel great, it's probably hormones. So you want to be looking at things, how do I naturally allow my body to do what it's supposed to do better? So first and foremost, we have to look at improving the health of your liver so that it can actually reduce, for instance, the relationship of estrogen to testosterone in your body, because sometimes it's not a matter of getting more testosterone, it's a matter of lowering estrogen in your body that has built up by consuming years worth of xenoestrogens in the form of medications or soy, stuff like that has built up over time, which are high estrogen type of foods or influences, and that's going to offset the testosterone estrogen relationship in the body. So that's important. Second is you want to clean up your liver, because your liver, if it's healthy, is going to help flush out and metabolize excess estrogen. Very important. Okay, so doing a thing like our Total Wellness Cleanse can be it's going to be very helpful. It's going to be very, very helpful to help you get that stuff out. Okay, number 3 is you want to be engaging in primal, just raw, like manly activity, which means you have to lift weight, heavy weight. Go to the gym, lift some, like throw some heavy weights around. You will feel the surge of testosterone. You're going to feel like going to fight a bear afterwards. Not that you should, but that's what happens when testosterone raises in your body. And that's a very different feeling than if you go for a run or if you do yoga, which, again, they have their place. But if you want to raise testosterone, lift very heavy weights with good form, obviously, with a proper program. That's one of the primal precursors to developing testosterone or pumping it out. 4th is eat more testosterone-friendly foods, things like healthy fats, right? Avocados, coconut oil, butter. These are all going to be prerequisites for the building of the testosterone hormone. And then you can also look at adding in maybe some more animal products if you want to. So red meat, eggs, they can help out as well. Excuse me. So those are the 4 things, okay? I'm not a huge fan. I would not suggest, I guess, again, talk with your doctor, but I would not suggest, I would never recommend to what I know at this current time in my life to be supplementing with testosterone. And again, I don't know how old you are, but I wouldn't mess with that until, like, worst case scenario, you're in your like 80s and you need some testosterone or something. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. So if you know anyone who is a little bit low in testosterone, right? If you've got low sex drive, low ambition, low motivation, low energy, those are all signs and symptoms of low testosterone, even if you're a woman. So if you're a woman, testosterone is still important, okay? So take some of the suggestions I just mentioned, and if you want to have a little more virility in your life, then lift some heavy weights. I'm telling you, it'll make a big difference. Okay, so Glenda, what about HRT for postmenopausal ladies? Is zero phytyl HGH good? I have no idea what that is, so sorry I can't make any sense about that. HRT, again, I'm not that well versed on where things are at with the literature on this right now, so I don't want to give you false information. I remember when I was in school, this is almost 15 years ago now, doing a project on HRT, and I remember that in some women it actually led to increases of breast cancer. For those who had, I can't even remember right now, but this is a case-by-case basis. So you have to work with your doctor on this, and whatever you guys figure out together is probably going to be the best option. But again, we'll probably look at doing some more research and writing on this topic, because I think it's important. A lot of women, obviously, like yourself, Glenda, are looking for answers to this, and I don't know if we have much written on this right now. So I'm gonna make a note that we kind of investigate this a little bit more, because I think it really is interesting. I found it very interesting when I was researching this stuff 15 years ago in school. And I remember at the time, basically the indication was that it was maybe not the best idea, based on what it can do to the bones, based on what it could do to increasing levels of increased risk of cancer in some cases. So, but I don't know if that's the same nowadays. But please just work with your doctor to make the best decision. I know that's not really the most helpful I can be, but that's, obviously the most integral I can be. All right, Shauna, sleep supplements. You don't need any sleep supplements. What you need to do is you need to increase your sleep hygiene, which means go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Go to sleep in a cold, dark room, and avoid electronics at least an hour before going to bed. Okay, just start with that. Okay, if you've got a lot of racing thoughts, can't sleep, write stuff down, get stuff out of your head, do a brain dump, get everything down on paper, and now your brain's gonna know, hey, it's okay, I've got everything down for tomorrow. It's really not sexy, but I'm telling you, those 3 things right there, 4 things, are gonna be the most effective way to help you sleep at night. The other thing you can do is actually increase your carbohydrate consumption later in the day. Carbohydrates are going to lead to an increased amount of tryptophan in the brain, which converts to melatonin via serotonin first, and that's going to help you sleep as well. So, yeah. Other than that, you can always supplement with melatonin, but then again, just like with the testosterone stuff, your body becomes dependent on melatonin pills in order to produce melatonin and sleep properly, and that's not a good thing you want to get into. So, train your body to do what you want it to do. So Deepak, can you suggest food supplements for better joint health? Yes, bone broth and collagen, top for sure. Fish oil, anything anti-inflammatory. Okay, so fish oil is going to help. Also look at turmeric. Turmeric is massively beneficial for arthritis and joint pain. So those are basically the 4 ones I would recommend. There's really nothing else you would need on top of that. You can look at like glucosamine and chondroitin, but I don't know if they're really as impactful as some people say they are, perhaps, or a lot of the formulations think they are. But you want to be looking at reducing inflammation in the body, because joint health is a result of 2 things: movement, which increases lubrication in the joint for the synovial fluid, which is really important, and obviously reducing inflammation in those joints so you don't have pain. So for instance, if you have shoulder pain, one of the best things you can do is train your shoulder to move, right? Keep it moving, keep those joints mobile to increase the lubrication, the synovial fluid inside the joint. Okay. All right. We're at time. We got 5 more minutes to go here, guys. I'm just gonna have a little sip of the old apple cider vinegar. Oh, that is a lot. I don't even know if there's water in there. Holy cow. Okay, Harjeet, can you fix low thyroid via diet and stop taking Synthroid? I don't know. To be very honest, I'm going to recommend you to my friend Isabella Wentz. So let me just, I'm going to give you 2 recommendations here, okay? Just let me type these in for a second. So I'm just going to give you their pages on Facebook, if I can even find them. So one is my good friend, Dr. Alan Christensen, who, in my opinion, is one of the smartest men on the planet, especially when it comes to endocrine stuff, and so adrenals and thyroid. So I'll type in, so that's that. And then we've got my friend Isabella Wentz, also known as the thyroid pharmacist. And all right, so those are 2 amazing resources. Isabella and Alan are awesome. They're super smart and both very well versed in both thyroid and adrenal stuff. I don't necessarily know for sure that you can fix a low thyroid. Again, I don't know if it's Hashimoto's or if it's just low thyroid function. But I really don't believe that, taking Synthroid and kind of synthetic medications is a long-term strategy. So there's definitely ways that you can improve the quality of your thyroid. Remember, reduce inflammation in the body, reduce your consumption of gluten, because both those are going to impact your thyroid. Look at maybe supplementing with a combined iodine/selenium. Okay, you don't want to be doing one or the other, combined. And those are some pretty basic things, but overall, just a clean overall diet, reduce inflammation in the body, and reduce your intake of gluten, because gluten mimics or looks very similar to thyroid tissue, so your body can confuse the two and mount an immune response against your thyroid tissue, which is not good. So yeah. All right, so Jia Yang, how to reduce gas and bloating. How to reduce inflammation is really simple. You eat more plant-based foods, vegetables and fruit, and you increase your intake of fish oil and things like turmeric, right? As soon as you start going into grains, sugar, just processed junk, that's when we start increasing inflammation inside the body. So think about eating more vegetables and fruit. They're very highly anti-inflammatory. And then omega-3 fats, fish oil specifically, and turmeric are going to be very, very helpful at reducing inflammation. You can also look at things like ginger as another addition to that. Basically, any herb or spice is going to help reduce inflammation for the most part. What's your take on MSM? It's pretty good. I think MSM is actually pretty good. So yeah, by all means, go for it. It's pretty good at all levels. It's good for the skin, good for the cells, good for, just getting more sulfur into your body is really good. How would you approach a raw vegan diet as a general daily meal plan? I would, if you read my book, The All Day Energy Diet, which is right here. Okay, this is a very, very good book. It's basically showing you how to eat more raw vegan foods without becoming a raw foodist. And as a result, you're going to have a lot more energy than you would if you did not do that. Okay, so I'm just going to search on my website here for a second, because there's a question about gas and bloating that I have an article about that I'm just going to send your way. I believe it was Jia. There we go. How to get rid of bloating. How about that? Okay. So Jia, how to get rid of bloating. There you go. Just read that article. It's really good. All right. So we good, guys? We good? You guys enjoying this? Was this helpful? Awesome. If you guys want to watch the replay, you can obviously just watch it right here on my Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching the replay, remember to subscribe to the channel. You can also join me over at Facebook and join me every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, for our Ask Yuri live hangouts. If you're enjoying this episode, if you've enjoyed this stuff, be sure to share it with your friends. Let them know about this, right? We're on a mission to help millions of people with their health, fitness, and nutrition. I want to do my very best to help that, to make that happen. Okay, but I can't do that all alone. We need your help as well. Amira, vegan joint health. Again, same idea, right? Reduce inflammation. So if you're vegan, perfect. You're already eating in an anti-inflammatory diet, assuming the vast majority of your diet is not grain-based. Okay, so if you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, you're fine, right? Add in some algae oil instead of fish oil, turmeric, ginger, right? Terrific. There's tons of research on these specific foods that reduce inflammation, almost to the level, like with turmeric, almost to the level of Advil. Like, it's been shown for certain pain that turmeric is actually more helpful than Advil is, which is pretty amazing. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, I got to bounce because I've got another live hangout I'm doing elsewhere. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. If you want to check out our latest and greatest on the blog, just click the link above this video, which is our blog, yurielkaim.com. And if, I hope you don't have any candies left in the house, because obviously, that's not going to be very helpful like it is for me. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let your friends know about this. Every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Ask Yuri Live is right here. Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you next week once again. Trouble losing weight? Need more energy? Want to improve your health? You got a fitness or nutrition question? I probably have an answer for you.